Hello, welcome to Girl Talk. This is episode 3 of Masculine and Feminine Energy. At the end of episode 2, I asked a question and we didn't get the complete answer yet. We're still going to discuss it more about are men being stripped of masculine energy because women are adopting it more and are far more energized by the characteristics of masculine energy. But right now in this episode with Kia and Bahar, we want to speak about how to embrace feminine energy. What does that mean? What are the characteristics of feminine energy? And what does it look like a man who does have feminine energy? Like, what does that look like? Because we're not saying he's feminine, but he has the feminine energy. So we want to touch on that a little bit. Bahar, in your words, your own words, how would you explain feminine energy to teenage girls?
I would explain it first taking a look through man-woman relationships, because that's how I was able to process it. I feel like, speaking for myself as a woman, you know, we talk about how we want a guy to take care of us, we want to be comforted, we want to feel protected, and I feel like that's inherent to how a lot of women feel. And that's really the receiving aspect of feminine energy, to feel protected and cared for and provided for. Women adopting feminine energy looks like receiving that, letting the partner really adopt that masculine energy in terms of leadership, in terms of being assertive, head of the household. That's what that looks like in terms of gender roles. But I feel like for women, for adopting that feminine energy, we need to make space for feminine energy to exist with masculine energy. So when we say we want a man to protect us and care for us and be the provider, we need to make space for that by adopting the feminine energy to really just receive that, which is how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Kia, being a business owner and you said like primary source of income in your family, what would it look like if your husband was the nurturing, like he had the feminine energy, being nurturing and sort of being on the receiving end, would be a stay-at-home dad? Because that's the movement we're going into right now, where a lot of dads feel like if their wives are doctors and, you know, these successful business owners, let them work and then we'll stay and take care of the kids at home.
Yeah, you know, Caroline, I think there's a lot of confusion about masculine, feminine, and it brings up emotion that we don't know how to process. Because for women, like Bahar was saying, we've had this wave of feminism that started, I don't know, in the 60s maybe, mm-hmm. and a lot of good came out of it, but it's come to this extreme where now women who inherently want to be loved, they want to be protected, they want to be provided for, they love the strength, they love all of that, are all of a sudden, as soon as they start to feel that in their body, their mind says, oh, no, that's weak, that's submissive. I gotta be strong, I gotta be a go-getter, I've gotta be a doctor, I gotta be this, because that's where the culture has taken us. And this is what happens, and that's why we get conflicted as women, and we struggle in marriages, you know, even 50% or more of marriages are ending in divorce. We struggle within ourselves, we feel angry, we feel bitter, but we don't know what to do. And so I just wanna point that out to say this is really where it starts from, is understanding there's nothing wrong with you with wanting to be provided for, cared for. There's nothing wrong with you with wanting to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, having your own business. Those are all amazing goals to have. But understanding that it takes different qualities and energies and emotions and feelings and thoughts and decisions to operate in those roles, it's what's gonna give us peace and help us with our relationships. So to answer your question, if you are the primary source of income, if you are a business person or whatever that you have, and your husband is the one who's taking care of the family, who's being the nurturing, you know, those are roles. And I don't have one answer for that, because it's so multidimensional of what areas you communicate, what areas you talk about, how you can really learn to, in some areas of your life, step back and like Bahar said, give space for your husband to step up. I believe that most men have masculine energy. They want to lead, they want to protect, they want to provide, they want to love the way that the Bible commands men to love. But they become afraid because the women will become angry, or they will dictate, or they will, you know, like it says in Genesis, one of the consequences of the fall was that women want to have dominion over their men. So, but we can redeem that, and we can learn how to really step back and allow ourselves to receive. And when we do that, our husbands will naturally step up.
What does it look like for a woman to embrace feminine energy but still respect the role of her husband?
That's a great question. I think for women, the first step is to allow herself to feel. We've been stripped of our emotions, thinking that the emotions are bad. We shouldn't be led by emotions, but emotions are energy, and emotions are power, and emotions are one way that the Holy Spirit speaks to us. And so for one, allowing ourselves to feel it in our body, right? And being in tune with, what is that I'm feeling here? What is that I'm feeling here? And there's things that you can do to really just take a moment and receive that emotion without judging it, without saying this is a good emotion. Wanting to be cared for is a good or a bad emotion. Wanting to be loved is a good or bad emotion. Needing this is good. Stop judging your emotions. Just be aware of them, I think, is really the first step to being okay with wanting to be, to nurture, wanting to be taken care of, wanting to be protected, wanting to give those things. So really, emotions is where it starts. That's some energy.
Right, I wholeheartedly agree, and I think we can all agree that it is so important to understand the definition of masculine and feminine energy. You have to dig deep, understand what that means, respect the fact that males and females can coexist with both energies. In this series, we are not discussing the role of the husband and the wife, but the energies do conflict. When they do conflict, it affects relationships. And I think I'm seeing a lot of girls, teenage girls, right, that are on this empowerment to arise and be leaders, and we can do whatever boys do, and if they can do it, we can do it. We can play football, we can do this, we can do that, because they're energized, right, to be equal, thinking that they're not equal. Do you see that with your friends, like the teenage girls?
I do. I see it, I just see it a lot more in the pressure of society and social media. And I think, we could go for hours on how toxic social media can be, but I just think it's a lot of pressure for women. Now they feel like after all these years, they feel like you said, like their emotions are a bad thing, like it's a weakness, like you're too emotional, you're acting hysterical. Like that's just ways that this good thing that God has created and given space for women to feel has just been perverted into presenting it as a weakness. And like you said, I think the way it starts with emotions, those characteristics of feminine energy to flow, to nurture, to care, those all start with those emotions, and that wouldn't be possible without them. Like the masculine energy isn't focused around the emotions. It's not focused on the feeling, which is okay for what the masculine energy accomplishes. But for feminine energy, I think it's actually very empowering for women to be able to feel so deeply and care for children, for their significant other. That is very empowering as a woman. And I think it's really unfortunate that society today has stripped it of its inherent empowerment and to only shape empowerment as strong and assertive and go-getter. And while that is empowering in its own sense, it's not fair to take a whole idea that women need, and even men need sometimes, and show it as weak, show emotions in men and women as weak.
I really like the idea that it's been perverted, it's been corrupted, because those energies exist whether we like it or not. But what's happened is that in social media, like Bahar said, to embody feminine energy, what we've done is we've made it all about looks. We've made it all about the shape of your body, your face, your eyebrows, your hair, what you wear, candles, like self-care. We've created a false embodiment of feminine energy, whereas feminine energy has very little to do with how you look. But that's what culture has made it into. Masculine energy, how has it been perverted? They call it toxic masculinity now. And so now we are shaming men for being strong, for holding the door open for us, for telling women that we want to take care of you, we want to protect you. So that's how it's been perverted, and we need to stop it. We need to make the truth known.
You're right, Kia. The other day I was walking in through, I just watched a woman get so angry because a man held the door open where I said, "Thank you, sir." I walked in and I'm like, "You're a gentleman." So I wholeheartedly agree that these are things that we're going to have to try to change. But thank you for tuning in. This concludes our 3rd episode. Please join us for the next one, where we are going to discuss how can we now coexist, like with both masculine and feminine energy, and what does that look like? And it looks very healthy. When we understand it, it's very healthy. So please join us in our next episode. Thank you for tuning in.